Hello, welcome back to Fetch TCG. We're here with Benjamin, who recently came top 32 in the OCE Online Regional. How did it go for you?
Yeah, hey man, it went pretty good. Had some good games, won a few dice rolls, and then yeah, just ended up falling short in the last round to another fetch player.
But you still made top 32, which is pretty good. What was the reason that you chose to run NL in this format?
I played Enel in OPO 5, did pretty decent with it. I went X2 at Nationals in Melbourne, ended up
Yep.
coming 45th, and then when OPO 6 came, it was kind of like I knew Enel was still decent, so I was like, yeah, I'll keep playing it. He's my favorite character, like one of my favorite characters. So the fact that he's decent in the meta, I was like, yeah, I'm playing him. And then I also couldn't get like the Gecko cards too quick, so I just ran what I had.
And what are your toughest matchups?
For this deck, like this version of it, 100% Katakuri in terms of the meta. That is by far the hardest. It's like if they could just get 2 10 drops out, it's just a guaranteed loss. And yeah, there's not much you can do about it. And then I would say Gecko and Saka. Saka's probably about the same as it was before, to be honest. Like Gecko gives a bit of power, but it's not too bad. And then the Gecko matchups are about 50-50 a lot of the time. It kind of depends on who goes first.
Any free matchups, you reckon?
I wouldn't say free. Like there's never a free game, but
Yeah, fair enough.
the Yamato game was over in like 3 turns that I played, and then it was like whoever outrushed the other person.
Oh, thanks so much. Do you remember your matchups in OCE?
Yeah. So I don't remember the rounds, but it was 2 Katakuris, 4 Geckos, a Reiju, a Red Purple Law, and a Yamato. Lost one Gecko and 1 Katakuri. Yeah.
Pretty good considering Katakuri is your worst matchup, right?
Yeah, we both got a bit lucky. Like he hit a 10 million volts in his life, and then I hit the zero cost event to get a life back to save me. So it's kind of like he got saved and then I got saved. So it was a bit,
Right.
a bit high roll from both of us, but it was still good.
Yeah, but that's how it is with yellow A. So let's just get into the deck profile then.
All right. So to start with, just go over the 2Ks. So I've got 3 Satoris, 4 Beige, and 4 Hiyori. 4 Hiyori might seem a bit weird, but it will make sense because of the Momos that I'm running. So yeah, it's like this kind of version. I had 2 Crackers in before, but I kind of switched it out for Hiyori and some more counter. And the fact that I'm running Momo, Hiyori is actually a really strong card if you don't have anything else, because you can stack and then heal. It came in really helpful in my Red Purple Law game. It kind of let me survive his onslaught a bit more. And yeah, Beige is just, it's Beige. And Satori is really good into a lot of the control decks just because of the 5 costs and the trigger. To finish off my Wano package for Kikus, so it's like this package of Wano is really nice. It's like it kind of just like give you some free life if you want it, which into Katakuri kind of gets cancelled out, hence the bad matchup.
Right.
But yeah, Akiku's super strong. She is also the bane of your existence sometimes, because the one time that you don't counter out before you get the opponent to 3 life is the time you hit it off your top life. It's like it's so painful sometimes, but it's also really good into Gecko. Some people really don't like it in the nail, but I think it's okay.
Did you find that most people were surprised when you did whip out the Hioris and Momos?
I don't think anyone was overly surprised, but they were just like, oh man, I can't believe he's actually running it. Like they just don't always plan around it, especially right now. And in terms of just like, tech triggers, we got the 4 Onamis and the 4 Shirahoshis. Shirahoshi kind of replaces any searches you have, like can fix your hand, just, standard. And Onami, the new Thunderbolt, Banish can come in really helpful. Can combo well with a Katakuri at 10 Don. You already have your Yamato out. Play this, swing 9 with Banish, and then put it back on top. It's pretty nice, but yeah, nothing crazy with those. In terms of, like the higher end gameplay and curve, you got the 4 Gadatsus. I've got 4 Enels, and I've got 4 Yamatos and 3 Katakuris. So a lot of the Enel decks will run 7-drop Big Mum over 7-drop Enel. And this is probably like the one setup that I have that differentiates this one from a lot of other decks. But I value the fact that this 7-drop Enel is super sticky into Saka and Gecko. When, the brothers decks come out and it become like Black Yellow Luffy will be a super big issue for this deck. I'll probably look into the 7-drop Big Mom a bit more, but right now, the 7-drop Enel is just matches my playstyle and is super annoying. Gadatsu, standard coming over from OPO5, really good at clearing. If you get to go first and they're a 5-life leader, no matter what they play outside of a Borsalino, you can get rid of. So super helpful to keep your momentum. Yamato, play on curve, great momentum, allows you to take life early, especially if you're going first, can you just play it out if you've managed it properly. And then 8-drop Katakuri has been decreased to 3 in OPO6, just because, especially because I'm running these 2 5-drops, I found like it's pretty much the same thing except a bit more specific, so you don't really need the 4. And it's not as good right now somehow. Like it's good to like control a Gecko if you need to play that way, but it's just like there's something about it. It's good but bad,
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it's just like it's the worst healing thing you can have because you have nothing to put back, and
Right.
if you put them back, if you give them back alive, then you're not in a position to be able to win. So it's just one of those cards that isn't always great. And then in terms of events, we have 3 of the 0 costs, 3 million volts, and 4 rejects. Yeah, like this is just super great as a last life trigger. You can, stack your life with Hiyori and get that on the bottom, and then put Hiyori on top, and you just guaranteed to live the next turn. Super nice. 200 million volts, super strong, especially with all the bosses running around. And reject is just insane. Not even just because of the life taking ability, just the fact that it has the KO of 5 cost secondary is what I think is the reason for their banning it coming up. But yeah, super nice.
Is there anything that you would change?
Yeah, so to try to deal with the Katakuri problem, the one thing that I can kind of think of is getting Ohm Holly in here. And I've been testing it out a bit, and it's kind of ends up being like you drop 2 Hioris and get another Satori. You drop the Momos, you drop a reject, and I think it was you drop the 0 cost events as well. And then I think like I figured out how to get 2 more in, but yeah, you essentially drop a bunch of other stuff that you play just to get those in to deal with the Katakuri, which is, it feels bad, but it's kind of necessary, and the deck can still operate without this kind of package. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird spot.
Like, what's your general game plan?
Yeah, so what I found was that I was trying to go first a lot and just play out my curve, which is a bit different to OPO5. Like the curve wasn't as important a lot of the time. But right now, just getting that curve and maintaining the momentum was really important. And then depending on board state and the opponent's leader, you kind of switch between a kind of like more control-y, maintaining your life and building up that the big end game versus just swinging as high as you can and getting that reject million volts off to go for game.
For your hardest matchup, Kata, how do you play against it?
Hopefully you win dice roll. And then going second is it helps a lot, just throwing them off their curve. It's such a varied matchup because of the fact that you both have all these triggers that can just come out onto the board that both people have to play around. Like if you get an Akiku trigger early, as especially for this version, you just like it's super big, super important. And then if they're if they hit, like the first game I played, he played an Akiku. I got rid of it. He got a life back, and then he got another Akiku off that life. And then that like he was still at I think he was still at 5 life at that point. He was at 4 life. So he 4 life with an Akiku on board. He plays 7-drop Big Mom and swings with the Akiku. So I put him up to 6 life. I'm at my 9 Don turn. I'm swinging with my like my Enel and my Gadatsu into his Ikiku, put him up to 6, and then KO his Big Mom with my Yamato. And when generally you don't want to put Katakuri that high up because it gives him that extra lifeline to get to his 10 drops. But he had nothing on board. I had 3 big bodies, so he can't. Even though he can play the 10 drop, I've got so much pressure already set up that it's creating that issue. So you just want to have a board as wide as possible, just so they don't feel safe playing that 10 drop. Yeah.
Last thing, do you want to give any shout outs to anyone?
Yeah, shout out to my locals. We got a lot of strong players. We have Minky Huang, who came 2nd at Nationals. We have Henry Hyde, who came 5th. So we got really strong locals. Decked Out Gaming in Brookvale. Big shout out to 2 of my friends as well. We've got the Card Archive and Beaches TCG. Yeah, shout out to those guys.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on your top 32 placement. And hopefully, we'll see you topping some more events.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah.